Good morning, everyone. Hope you had a fantastic long weekend. Today is Tuesday, October 5th, 14th. And welcome to another episode of Tea and Coffee with Paula and
Jay, good morning. She can count. She's a beautiful woman. And she can
Shut up.
count, get the days right. I'm playing. Well, not playing about the beautiful part. You are beautiful.
Oh.
And you can count. So really.
Lucky me. Hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving long weekend with family, friends, or just yourself, but hope you had some time and enjoyed it.
I'm still getting over not doing a show yesterday.
Oh, it was fantastic. One of the favorite things I did on Sunday was to switch off my Monday morning alarm. It was great.
It was nice to catch up on some rest. I certainly needed it. I think Sunday's the rest day that we had.
You did.
We definitely needed it. We were trying to go out, but no. Everything said take a day of rest.
Yeah.
So we did. We got a few things. Oops, was wrong, but a few things done around here, but we're good to go now.
Yep.
Your knuckle sore? Your finger sore?
All the door knocking. And, well, yeah, so that's what we did Saturday. Didn't do Sunday, and we did yesterday. So Saturday started off cloudy, ended up with rain and snow, but we persevered. And then on the top of your head. And then we went out Monday again. And it was fantastic, though, because we got to meet our community, which is the whole point of door knocking, get to meet and greet everyone, for them to get to know you, recognize you. So we could actually be the real bodies other than the faces on the signs that they got to see along the roads recently. So that was really good. It was a good experience.
It was good to tell them that we're not running against each other. Some people thought they saw two signs in a row. Like, are they running against each other?
What's going on? Two Levines, different names, but no. So we got the opportunity to explain all of that and just basically say who we are, what our campaign's about, and why we want to represent our local communities in the way we are. Yeah, it was a good experience. And then, of course, we did Thanksgiving yesterday with our family and another family friend, and that was a lot of fun. We spatchcocked the turkey. For those of you who don't know what that is, look it up. It's great.
Tell them.
Yeah, it's where you basically remove the spine of the bird, open it out, break the breastbone so it cooks flat instead of
like roadkill. No, it's fine.
With more deliverance, yes, for the turkey, and yeah, it cooks evenly. It cooks in an hour and a half, and
juicy, very juicy. It works out really well.
We've been doing it for years.
Yep, and you do it to chickens too.
Yeah, we do it with chickens too. It just even cooking fraction of the time, and it turned out really well. And it's the first time our friends had spatchcock turkey. I wonder if they'll do it again themselves.
Well, they liked it because it was nice and juicy and quick. So energy efficient. There you go. Your carbon footprint. You're ready for social credit now.
Oh my goodness.
But no, it was a fun weekend. We did a lot of fixing up of signs because it got windy and snowy. We drove up and down and around and fixed those all up. Yep. Because we want to be proactive, make sure that people can see that we are putting in the work.
Mm-hmm.
And the door knocking was fun. So we got basically Buck Creek done. And invited everybody to the Wednesday town hall. So if you're not aware, Wednesday town hall, Buck Creek, 7 p.m. And then Breton on Thursday, 7 p.m. You can find us at Salt and Pepper, where we're meeting our neighbors. And I think we learned a lot. We certainly learned a lot from the doors that we knocked on and the conversations that we had. People are ready for change, it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I would agree. It was very positive, our interactions with the community members that we met with, especially when we explained, again, who we are, why we're running, and what our platform is. They seem to respond positively to it.
What was the one question that you learned, like something that you learned while you were door knocking about what people want?
Oh, for the trustee point of view, is like it's not just about the teachers and the EAs. Check your janitors too. Like all members of staff working within the school, everyone's needing some care and attention and respect as well.
And one lady wanted to make sure that you were no G for Soji.
No G for Soji, yes, exactly. We met this lovely pastor, and she was saying, "What do you think of Soji?" And I said, "Not in any way, shape, or form do I want it in the schools." So yeah, I don't. Sexual orientation, gender ideology, no. Identity, no. No, thank you.
It's actually great that you don't know what it means. Sometimes you have to correct yourself.
Yeah.
But no G to Soji, you can put that on a poster somewhere.
No G for Soji.
Yeah. Anybody running for trustee, you can steal that as well. If that's how you feel, you really should. And one of the things that I learned is they're ready for change, and they definitely want accountability. So one of the things that really resonated well was my commitment to run meetings every month, twice a month before the council meetings. And this was part of the budget.
As you discovered.
Yeah. So I've already reached out to the county and said, hey, I want to do these meetings. And I really wanted to know how to provide my receipts so that I'm not in trouble for using my money to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's really what I reached out to. I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get in trouble to do that because I was going to rent the hall on my own time. That's when they told me, well, actually, we have a community outreach budget. We'll pay for that. And it just hasn't been utilized over the years. But it'd be great to see it utilized. The whole purpose is to go ahead and engage with the community.
Yeah.
Ensure that there's some back and forth and accountability. So every twice a month, I'll be coming back to Buck Creek Hall, rent it out, sit down, have conversations, give them updates on what happened, and be held accountable. Like, I'm not afraid. I'll be showing up every 2 weeks. So if I've done something wrong or they want to talk to me, there I am. I'm not going to be just showing up every 4 years. I'll show up twice a month. So they were very, very pleased about that one.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense to you because you're getting actually involved. You're getting up-to-date responses and feedback. And that's something I think people need because we could always just send an email and they know some know the information is available online, but there's nothing quite like sitting down one-on-one with someone to get that information from them and then share anything that you have you want to speak about too. So I think that's a great idea.
It was great that Brazo has that as part of the budget. So hopefully if I'm lucky enough to win and I start doing that, maybe the other councilors will replicate that.
Yeah.
And then throughout Brazo, everybody's getting representation, accountability, transparency, and free coffee. Free coffee.
Free coffee and water. Water's good for you too.
Say that again.
Water.
Water.
Oh,
Water.
my goodness.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Maybe drop in the comments there about your dinner. When do you actually have your dinner, though? That was one of the questions that we were asking
Or
people.
lunch.
No. Your Thanksgiving dinner.
No, but that's one thing. Or lunch.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, we walked into the hall, and there was a private one in the middle of the afternoon. By the way, we could have sat down and ate this. I didn't even realize until after. But when do you do your Thanksgiving dinner, lunch? Maybe somebody has a brekkie. But when's that turkey available? Is it the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday, or the Monday? We did it Monday.
Yeah, ours typically has been Monday. We've done the odd Sunday, but we've typically done ours on the Monday. Because at the end of that's when what day was Jacob? Jacob was born.
Friday. Jacob's birthday was Friday this year.
No. When he was born, because he came out.
He was born on. You were doing the turkey.
Yeah, that day.
Did 2 turkeys that day.
Yes.
One with you and one in the oven.
Yeah, my little man. But yeah, he came out before the bird. Bird was already in the oven, and Jacob was like, "Nope, coming out, Mama."
Did he eat turkey this year?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, when it comes to meat, yeah, Jacob will eat meat. It's everything else that Jacob has been particular.
He likes the Yorkshire pudding though.
Yeah, he loves that. Doesn't eat potatoes, but he'll eat fries. But yeah, he loves Yorkshire pudding. I think he downed about 5 of them.
6. In pairs. He always took them in pairs. He tried to get 3 at one point, but finish those first. But let us know how yours went.
Yeah, I hope it
and
was
what
lovely.
day did you have your big dinner? Some people have more than one.
Yeah, well, when you got the family spread out, you'll do a couple one day, the other the next. And so Pietro says, cool. We were thinking about doing the same type of cooking our turkey for next year for the spatchcocking. Recommend it completely. We're doing it for years, and what I love about it is that it cooks in an hour and a half. It's done, depending on your size.
How many pounds was that bird per hour?
The bird we had on Monday was 7 to 9. That was the
7 to 9.
Yeah,
I hear 79. Like 79-pound bird.
No,
boy,
7 to 9 was the weight range for the bird I got. I'd have to check the label to see exactly what it was, but it was between that. And it fed the 7 of us.
There's more.
And we still have leftovers.
Yes, we'll be having it for lunch. Maybe even dinner tonight. Good to go.
Perfect.
All right, so we got quite a bit of news. We do have Dr. Thorpe back.
But today.
He apologized. He didn't put it into his calendar, but he's good to go. And I reminded him yesterday, and we're good to go. So we'll be seeing
Wonderful.
Dr. James Thorpe today. Wednesday, we're expecting Bathsheba Vandenberg to come by, talk about the sentencing for Barbara Leach, and to give us an update on what's going on with Detective Helen Gruss. And we have on Thursday, Bart Guyon. the current Reeve, running for Reeve. And we're trying to add like a few more or a couple more candidates or counselors to that. They're pretty busy, so some of them are not interested in coming on. But we'll do our best to get whoever is to come on. And Bart has been confirmed. He's tried the link and he's good to go. And then on Friday we have Jason from Wiretap Media.
Great.
So we'll be kind of rounding up the week with all of a lot of research he's been doing on Antifa, the problems with them, and we'll get a whole half an hour with him.
Cool.
So that's our weekly schedule for the week. Then election on Monday. Election on Monday. Oh yeah, and today I have the Danielle Smith interview at 1:20 this afternoon for 40 minutes. So I have her from 1:20 to 2:00. It's been confirmed. They got the link. Everybody's happy. So we'll be getting that done. It's not live, okay, because it's part of our Alberta Self-Determination series. And I'll be releasing it ASAP because I think it's an important conversation. All of them are. This one is going to be an important one because she wanted to time it after the Alberta Next panels were done. So she had a little bit more feedback from the community in Alberta before she came on and had that conversation. So yeah, it's going to happen today at 1:20. We'll make sure we have enough power.
Yep. And sorry, Facebook chatters, I can see you are chatting in Facebook, but for some reason it's not coming up on our screen in our feed. But 86, good morning to you.
Good morning. And it does seem like there are some broken links here, accounts and stuff like that. So maybe StreamYard's having an issue, or we didn't update the latest CSIS patch. I'm not sure what's going on there. But there we go. So as long as the video's up and people can chat in their communities, maybe we'll just drop this little stream one for today.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the news because we kind of used up a lot of our time, spatchcock and all.
Spatchcock and all.
If you didn't catch it on Friday, I released an episode with Nicholas Holster, our wonderful epidemiologist. I have to slow down. I have a lisp on that. Epidemiologist out of Texas, who wrote an article about the ostrich farm and what was going on there. And I was blown away about what he had to share with us. Apparently, this strain of the avian flu, H5N1, came out of a lab in Georgia. It was potentially accidentally leaked, got away from them, but it was part of a gain of function research. So here we go again. Rinse, repeat, lather, rinse, repeat. We're getting very similar stories on how these things are created, get out there, and then the damage they do. The one big takeaway was to understand what's happening to the ostriches. I created a comparison. The comparison was long-term care facility, 400 elderly people in there, an outbreak of COVID, and then all the survivors 9 months later are wiped out. That's basically what's happening with these ostriches. Because even if there was an outbreak happened, the survivors 9 months later, they want to kill them. So go ahead and watch that episode. It was definitely eye-opening for me. I learned a lot. I wanted to kind of just go through his article, but his article already had all the information we already knew. When he started telling us about the origins of H5N1, I was just shocked. I was shocked to hear some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So go ahead and check that episode out. It's on all our platforms, YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook. You can find it on our webpage as well, thelevinshow.com. So go check it out.
Now.
What?
Go check it out now. And then so to answer Becky your question, what happened to the show on Saturday? Thanksgiving happened.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, we were planning to do it, Becky, the mashup. But everybody kind of forgot it was Thanksgiving. Yeah. And our guests that we had lined up also forgot that they had plans. So as I was reaching out to everybody saying, hey, here's a link. And they're like, oh, so sorry.
Yeah.
And then I reached out to Nico and I just wasn't feeling it. Like I was tired. That's why Saturday or Sunday ended up being a rest day. I was tired Saturday. And I reached out to Nico and he was tired too. And he's like, look, man, just not feeling it. I'm like, I'm not feeling it too. Yay. He's like,
these men need to realize there's holidays for a reason.
If the guests were there, we would have done it.
Yeah.
Both of us agreed that like if the guests were there, we'll do the show. Because when you're in the show, your energy goes up and it's enjoyable. But all of them, except for one, said, oh, so sorry. I forgot it was Thanksgiving. So we're going to plan a mega super episode this Saturday and maybe have several guests and rotate them out throughout. Because, for example, Chris Barber, he just wanted to relax. He just wanted to get home and relax. So he didn't
blame him.
Yeah, so he didn't want to do a show.
Yeah.
But maybe next weekend he'll be more up to it. Chris Carbert, same story. He kind of was going to give us 30 minutes, but then he kind of forgot and got into cooking for his dinner and just didn't have it. Marco van Hugenbos was with the family. Like, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people who were named in the courtroom as part of the proceedings to come on and chat with us. So that includes people that had their cases brought up as precedents. So Harbert and Marco, even Pastor Arthur Pulowski wasn't available. But anyways, expect a mega episode now, because a lot of people kind of owe us, because they did say they were going to come and then they weren't able to. So they'll be back. And Pat King was another one that was making himself available. Jeff Evely, he was flying down to talk to James O'Keefe about the forest stuff. But Jeff won't be there Saturday coming up because he's actually taking a day off.
Good man.
So he's already let me know that. Anyways, expect an action-packed, lots of faces that you know, giving their perspective of what happened in that courtroom for the sentencing. All right, so back to the news. Dacey has been highlighting some stuff here. No word from the Supreme Court. I'll get to that one in a second. So they were all relieved. The gain of function episode, do check that out. It was one of the most eye-opening ones. So Trump has classified anyone involved with Antifa in Canada and the rest of the world as being part of a terrorist group. Agreed. Absolutely agree with this. This is a major issue. And I think Canadian, at least one side of it, is starting to wake up to this, that these are the bad guys. These are not the good guys, and they do exist. And the whole narrative of Antifa doesn't exist is falling flat. People are just simply not believing that. We see the flags, we see the outfits, we see the violence, we see the video. It's been going on for years. Pretty hard to say don't believe your lying eyes on this one.
Yeah, exactly.
They're trying, but it's not working. Trump took the vax. So COVID-19 is one of the vaxes that he took. So we know where he stands on that, but we knew that when he came in because he created the Wealth Sovereign Fund, because they're expected to roll out 2 billion vaxes and they want to profit from it. So the United States are going to profit from it with the Wealth Sovereign Fund. That came out on day 2 of his presidency.
That grip of Big Pharma is disturbing.
Whatever it is, remember he signed in 2019, remember that date, with Fauci, Operation Warp Speed. So that was actually pre-approved before anybody knew what was going on. They pre-approved Operation Warp Speed, which is what rolled out the vaccines fast. So you can add it all up yourself. My comment here was, remember when the physician to the president gave Joe Biden a clean bill of health? Yeah, not the brightest bulbs. It's going to take a team to ensure the damage from the shot isn't significant for Trump. And if only the vaxxed had a team caring for their health and hearts. That's sad. Yeah, he's got a whole team going to make sure everything's fine with him. Probably take actions quicker than the rest of us ordinary people, as they like to refer to us. But anyways, he took it.
Yeah, and clarification, yes, we know it's not a vaccine.
Sorry, you guys, don't be so sensitive. We're using a terminology that's in our heads right now, and it's going to take some time to get that out. But we fully understand they changed the definition of vaccine in order to make this one be called that. I get it. I totally get it. I also posted here, it's time to wake up. It's if you take a look, here we go. You had SARS in 2003, the bird flu 2004. You had more avian stuff 2005. It just was on and on. H1N1 2009, Ebola 2014, the virus 2016, and all the way to 2021, like coronavirus 2020. The Time magazine has been letting you know, they've been trying to scare you with this stuff for quite some time. This is all stuff that they're working on vaccines for, or shots, or experiments, or whatever you want to call them. At least we all understand what we're talking about here together. But that's the case. It's been going on for a long time. Now, so I let everybody know October 11th, breaking Universal Ostrich Farm news. The Supreme Court of Canada has released their list of leave applications that they intend to make a decision on next week, October 16th, 2025, and the Universal Ostrich Farm application is not on the list. Unless the court abnormal actions, this indicates that the ostriches are not expected to be called next week. Source is a link on the website. We talked about this on the show because this is how I'm keeping up to date on when we're expecting a decision. So the Supreme Court does publish these on Fridays because every Thursday, and you can read here, Supreme Court of Canada will decide the following leave applications at 9:45 a.m. Eastern on Thursday, October 16th. This list might change. So this is the part where it kind of gives them an out. They can change it. But normally, all you can expect are these 7 cases to be decided on the application for leave. So it's not a decision on the actual hearing or the case. It's a decision on whether or not they'll hear it.
Yeah.
Okay. So to be clear on that, on the 16th, they're going to find out whether or not any of these are heard. Now, you can see the ones that are, person versus person probably would be dismissed. Person versus the king or the Canada probably will be dismissed. But if there's anything where it's the government versus the people, sometimes I hear those. But in either case, this actually means 2 weeks. We are not expecting the ostriches to be called because at the earliest, this Friday, we'll hear if the 25th of October, they're going to be making the decision, which means they have up to the 25th of October. So every week that goes by and they're not on this list, you can expect another full week of the ostriches to be not legally called. And I'm using those words because there's concern that it's actually already started.
Yeah, that's come up in the chat as well. So.
Yeah, there's concern that this has already started. I'm well aware. I'm in contact with a lot of the people there. There's major concerns that this has already started. But at least it's the legal side of things. And possibly in the future, if that's true, that some of the culling has started before the legal process allowed it, there's definitely going to be consequences. But again, it's going to be taxpayers' money.
Better to ask for forgiveness and permission. That seems to be what's happening.
I think that would be massive pushback if the government did something without permission or legal ability to do it prematurely and it resulted in deaths or something. But we'll see. All right. The Justice Minister rejects Premier's request to pull out of the notwithstanding clause case. This is basically telling the provinces you don't have the powers or authority provided to you in the Charter, in the Constitution. This is just another grip around the throats of the provinces when it comes to Ottawa's grip on them. Quebec's been using this successfully many, many times. It basically allows the province to kind of check out of leave certain federal decisions or actions because the Constitution and the Charter allows the Constitution allows the province to do so. So now the federal government is trying to remove that ability. I wish they would focus on the notwithstanding clause for them. It's Section 1 of the Charter, which allows them to violate our rights if they believe they have the power to or the reason to. I wish they could get rid of that one. But in either case, this is where all the provinces are saying, no, let's stop doing this. We should have this as an option, and they're doing it. I just made a note here that Justice Minister, the term, is an oxymoron. The government doesn't decide what justice is, God does. So to have somebody titled Justice Minister, that's an oxymoron.
Yeah.
If you don't know what an oxymoron is, I'm not assaulting the person as a moron with some cleaning chemicals with it, oxy. But what I am talking about here is jumbo shrimp. That's an oxymoron.
Yes.
So for people that are familiar with what that is, it just means when two words contradict each other and they're used as terminology. So Justice Minister in my books is an oxymoron.
Slight segue here. I've noticed in North America, you call the little ones prawns and the big ones shrimp, but
I've never heard the word prawns until you entered my life.
Yeah, but across the pond, shrimp are the little teeny tiny ones, and then prawns are the bigger ones.
Again, I'll repeat myself. I never heard the term prawns. Prawn. See, I can say it until you entered my life. So we've always had shrimp.
Ah.
Yeah. At least in my circles in the world, maybe in the fancy dancing, where they have three types of forks and all that kind of stuff at the plate, you would say that.
Yeah, could you even say plprawn cocktail?
See? Shrimp cocktail. Come on, where's my Canadian folk who grew up during Sesame Street, 80s, 90s, and on? I've never heard that term until you entered my life, which is now almost half my life, to be fair.
Yeah, babe.
Getting there.
Holy moly.
Getting there. Yeah, almost half my life. So soon I'll have to say, well, for most of my life, I've called prawns. We're getting there. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm very thankful for being blessed with a beautiful and loving family, even though I have to change my vocabulary or learn new words.
I had to too.
That's true. It's a trunk. They are why I fight so hard for our future. Much love. God bless. I love this photo quite a bit. Yeah, I'm blessed for sure.
You're pretty cool. We like you too.
You like me?
Yeah, I like you too.
This is because I'm taller and I can let you know when it rains sooner. It's gonna rain, guys.
We got rained on together on Saturday.
We did, and then we were actually very thankful when there was a covered porch.
Yes, you never appreciated a covered porch so much when there's rain and sleet coming down.
Yeah, there was even snow during
it
that
was
too.
coming in like that.
Yeah, well, hey, people appreciated the hard work. It's like, hey, you're out on this week. Yeah, you deserve it. We'll be here to talk to you.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so the disrespected trucker. A lot of this is happening. I've seen lots of people post stuff like this. Like, I have the right to ask questions and stop jumping on me. This is something that happens a lot. We've been through this many, many times as journalists and trying to do a show. There's a lot of people that don't want you to ask questions. They don't like the question. They don't like where it might lead, or maybe they don't like what kind of answers they will expose. There's a lot of people that push back on question askers. And I'm just trying to be cheeky here, highlighting that questions are so important that they have their own punctuation. Question mark. This is something we should be doing. And questions can lead to answers that maybe that's not what we're looking for, but at least it leads to answers. Or it can, highlight or end a conversation. Just like the disrespected trucker, I too question everything. When I am told, threatened, or pressured to stop, I ask even more harder questions. Yeah, this is what's like the death threats and stuff like that for us. Entire groups going against us, they still do it. It's because of questions, simple questions.
How dare you?
There you go.
How dare you?
There you go. So I encourage everybody, if someone's telling you not to ask harder. Ask harder.
Ask why. Why? Why can't I ask a question? Why?
Yeah, be that 3-year-old that says why to every answer.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is that? Because that's very good. You need to learn. But yes, I understand lots of people who try to get out there and have conversations. And for example, the disrespected truckers around Charlie's death gets attacked. And here's the thing, folks. When in our history have we ever had a major event where the first 72 hours, all the truth and only the truth came out?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. So expect it to take time. Expect things to evolve. Expect new information to come out. It's never happened where all of the authorities got it all right exactly at the very first try.
Yeah. And just to add to that, today would have been his 32nd birthday.
Right. Well, there you go. Thanks.
Yeah.
Why did you do that? There's a question. But no, here's a point. It's going to take years to find out what happened here, a trial, maybe multiple trials to get some of these answers. And there's nothing wrong with asking questions. It's the accusations that I think people should stay away from. Like, unless you know what you're saying is true, then you're throwing around information or accusations. But to ask questions like, why this or why not that, or how come they didn't check this? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I think you should be doing that. And eventually there should be some Senate level or House level question asking going on around that whole event. So Nico, here's giving a little post about us taking Thanksgiving off. Hope you all enjoy it. And on that note, the man of the half an hour is here. He's looking great. And we're going to be adding him to the stream. But yeah, so it was a good Thanksgiving weekend, everybody. Hopefully your bellies are full, waking up from that turkey coma and enjoying yourself. Looks like LinkedIn even died. We're just having some tech issues. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into our interview with Dr. James Thorpe.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Hey, good morning, Jason, and good morning, Paula. And it was so heartwarming to see that beautiful picture of your family, Paula and Jason. This is awesome.
No, we're very proud of our family. I love them. They're beautiful, and I'm so thankful that they like me. Because I get to stay in their lives and get to watch them grow up. And Jacob and JJ are growing fast. They're growing fast.
Yes.
Even Jacob. Yeah, even Jacob did a "that's what she said" joke the other day. It's like he just turned 9. I'm like, oh, what? Like, I don't think he understands what he's saying yet. But I said, Jacob, you have some big feet there. That's what she said.
Yeah, but he's always been known for his comic timing.
He's funny.
He's both boys are hilarious, but Jacob's got a wicked sense of humor.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you were one of the most anticipated guests in a long time.
Yeah,
Bathsheba Vandenberg, who's on tomorrow. She says you're her favorite human being, so she's really glad that you're opening for her. Is the way she kind of put it. So she's on tomorrow morning. But how have you been? I did an interview with you as part of the movie for Sean Hartman and Dan Hartman, but we haven't had you on the show for quite some time. So how have you been?
I've been extraordinarily busy doing my clinical work, my and my other job responsibilities, and then the clinical research has been really busy. Our group, the Advanced Biological Research Group, ABRG, and we're at abrg.org. I'm one of the founding members, and we're trying to do. We have 2 studies that are currently in progress, but these are the only group that I know in the world that is focusing on research with regard to what is the cause of the women's reproductive function. So 2 studies first one is basically looking at what is causing the abnormal menstrual periods, and we have all of the specimens. This is approved by the IRB. It's ready and set to go. The only problem is we're a 501c3 and we need the funding for that. And of course, all the funding, right, comes from where? Pharmaceutical companies and the government. And this is an inconvenient study for them. It's extraordinarily disturbing to me as 46 years in OBGYN that all this travesty that I've seen, there's not one university or one hospital or any group of investigators in the United States of America that I'm aware of that is doing this research. What is causing it? The second study is what we call ovarian reserve. We're looking at vaccinated versus unvaccinated women of reproductive age, young women, and that have taken what is the effect of the COVID-19 vaccine on their ova, their eggs, their remaining eggs, that is, by the way, the future of humanity, right? So that's what we're doing. But each of the founding members, we put in thousands and thousands and thousands of our own monies and hours, and there's nothing in it for us. We're doing this for the sake of the vaccine injured. So spending a lot of time with that, and it's discouraging that the meaningful research, interestingly, done in the United States is either suppressed or it's not. It was done and it's suppressed, or it's done in a different country, like the Manish study done in the Czech Republic. The only country in the world that opened their clinical database, de-identified it. They did it legally, and we see what happens: profound adverse effects of the COVID-19 vaccine, irrefutable in Czechoslovakia. And then you have Turkey. The Karaman study just earlier this year shows in an animal model that a adjusted dose of the COVID-19 vaccine in animals results in a destruction of 60% of the ovarian reserve in the ovaries of those female subjects. So it's very concerning stuff. And then I'll stop my ramble or my pre-ramble, but that brings me to the famous Henry Ford study in Detroit, Wayne State University School of Medicine, that we must talk about at some point in time here.
Okay, so we'll jump to that study in a moment here. I just kind of want to ask a couple questions around menstruation and the cycles. Was there any studies prior to the rollout of the vaccine, prior to the media push, that said it was safe for women and it wouldn't impact the menstruation cycle. Using hindsight, like we can go back, was there any information at Pfizer or any of the others that said it didn't impact, or was it just they never talked about it? Like, I want to kind of understand what was the understanding as things rolled out around menstruation cycles and women. Then I have a second question to that once we understand the answer to that one.
So yeah, I appreciate you asking one at a time because I haven't finished my first cup of coffee yet. So
Welcome to Tea and Coffee with Paula Jay.
Yeah,
I see that. Thank you, and love your show, by the way.
Thank you.
So I think the answer to that is best I can discern in all the reading and research that I've done is they absolutely knew that it was going to impair fertility. And we know that because when we look through the communications in their phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and now they have a phase 4 trial, I think, is that indeed there were concerns about human reproduction. There was also concerns stated. Now, these studies, the phase 1, 2, and 3 studies were done before the rollout, right? So they knew because they told their participants, do not come near pregnant women, right? So they knew that there was a shedding phenomenon as well.
Okay, so then this follow-up question to that is, how come the media and the news and all these women commentators that came on and said, absolutely doesn't affect the menstruation cycle at all? What was that based on? Was that based on anything or just simply narrative? Because from what you're saying is there was nothing that said it was safe. They were still looking into it. There were some concerns and don't give it to pregnant women or stay away from pregnant women. But what were they basing that on? Just a flat out lie at that stage?
They were basing it on nothing. I think that Jason and Paula, that these weren't independent news outlets like the Jason and Paula Levine show, right? No, these are paid extensions of the government. The government illegally captured these NGOs, not just media NGOs, but and NGOs for your audience is non-governmental organization. So they are the ones that put out the narrative. It's just like you remember in 2021, 2022, when they were pushing the boosters, and it was very clear that the vaccine was not effective. In fact, it increased the risk of subsequent COVID infection, right? So remember the narrative where they had all these famous people, Obama, the president, all these famous actors, they said the exact same word. Yes, I'm sure glad I got my COVID vaccine because I got COVID again, but it was much better. It was much easier for me to get through. So everyone, they didn't use those same words, but everybody from Obama to multiple people in the White House to multiple people in Hollywood, exact same quotation. As you know, that's propaganda. That's what the communists did. This is what fascists do, is they control the narrative. So that's exactly what happened with the menstrual periods. A true story. Tiffany Parato was actually the founder of My Cycle Story. And Tiffany, in early 2021, and I've published with her and the rest of the group of the My Cycle Story group at Children's Health Defense and other places from the East to the West Coast. Two very, very excellent studies, but it was based on Tiffany Parato's, originally her Facebook. Well, she had a Facebook page and it was dedicated to women that had abnormal menstrual periods after their shots. And Paula, it was off the charts. And there were tens of thousands of patients on this. So what did the Biden administration do? What's the most logical thing that they would do? That was an inconvenient narrative and database they wiped out her database. They took it down and everything. So this is what they do. They throw the vaccine injured under the bus and they deny it and then mock them, mock anybody that brings their attention, like, Mr. Hartman, Dan Hartman, God bless him, and all the other vaccine injured. Not only do they deny them and censor them and throw them under the bus, but then they gaslight them with these horrible, horrible, painful text messages from these people that must be so distant from God and so they must be psychopaths. Who sends these letters, these responses in the social media of a man whose 17-year-old boy was killed by the Pfizer vaccine, and then you send mean, cruel posts on social media to the father. This is what's happened to all the vaccine injured. So it's not surprising that that this is what they did. And by the way, this is what all the NGOs did in the organization. My 3 organizations that honored me my entire career: the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, the American Board of Obstetrics and Gynecology, and the Society for Maternal Fetal Medicine. Listen, those organizations control 62,000 OBGYN doctors in all 6 provinces you have, all 6 provinces of Canada, all 50 states of the United States of America, Mexico, and some countries in South America. No kidding. And they colluded. They were captured by the governmental organizations, HHS. And my wife and I, an attorney and a co-investigator, co-researcher, we documented that with a Freedom of Information Act request, and we published that. And so when a couple go to their first OB appointment, you think about it, go back, Paula, when you were pregnant. Maybe the most important physician appointment that you ever had in your life was with your first pregnancy appointment when you were pregnant with your children, right? And you trusted that obstetrician. You had a relationship with her that probably transcended all other physician-patient relationships. I mean, I've been doing this for 46 years. That's my understanding. And think about that. You're going in, you're trusting this person with the most sacred moment, Jason and Paula, in your life. And you see the face of the obstetrician, but yet you're not talking to the obstetrician. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists wrote her talking points from her mouth to you. So you were talking to the Canadian government. You weren't, well, you were in part, in the American government, but most importantly, the NGOs up in Canada, but even more importantly, the 3 organizations I just mentioned. And when those 3 organizations colluded, they sent out a letter, September 27th, 2021, to all 62,000 OBGYN doctors and said, you will push the vaccine in pregnant women. You will follow all the Covidian narratives. And if you don't, you're spreading misinformation, and we will remove your licenses in all the states you're licensed in. And worse yet, we will remove your board certification. So this is why people like this Henry Ford study, why those gutless wonders, I don't know how they can sleep at night, won't publish their data because, they didn't have the intestinal fortitude, the ethical and moral conviction. They didn't have the ethical and moral integrity to say, oh my gosh, we have to publish this. No, we're not going to publish it because it'll destroy my career. Well, that's what God calls us to do. God calls us to stand for the truth. It's all throughout the Bible. the Old Testament and the New Testament. You go back to Samuel. If you honor God, like, by the way, I see in both of you with your truth telling, you put yourself in harm's way. Well, what did God say through his prophet Samuel? He says, well, I'm going to honor Paula and Jason because they honor me by telling the truth. All throughout the Bible.
Well, I certainly agree with you when we were, those first few appointments when you are pregnant, the most exciting times, most apprehensive times. We were actually big fans of midwives. So we had midwives for our pregnancies. But here's something I'm always asking Dr. Thorpe. To what end? What was their purpose to know that they are affecting generational fertility? To what end? Why were they allowing this?
I stayed silent on answering this question for the first 3 years into the pandemic until I just did more study, more research, read more books, especially the Peter Breggin book, COVID-19 and the Global Predators, We Are the Prey, Bobby Kennedy's book, The Real Anthony Fauci, Peter McCullough's book. When you read all the details, and you find the facts of the case, this leads back to a very, very dark corner. This is a spiritual battle. This is a war. This is good versus evil. This goes back, the roots of this go back millennia. So, you have the evildoers, if you will, who have stated very clearly in no uncertain terms. And when I say the evildoers, I'm talking about many political figures, major political figures around the world in the United States of America with a stated goal of depopulation. This goes way back. So, you can get quotes from, remember the famous quote from Anthony Fauci had many, but Bill Gates, I think it was 2010, he declared that this was going to be the decade of the vaccine. This whole pandemic was planned, as you know, and it was a product of the DOD in the United States of America, and the deep state. So their end goal would be apparently what I'm certain of what Gates said. His famous quote, remember the TED Talk? You can pull this up and play it on your show. It's all over. It's a TED Talk of Bill Gates. I think it was around, don't quote me, I'm maybe around 2010 or maybe 2012, somewhere around there. And he was on the TED Talk and he says, and I quote, we do a really good job, with birth control and with vaccinations, we can reduce the population by 10 to 15%. This is a Satanist. Bill Gates is controlled by Satan. And I'm not saying that for all of the people that are pushing the vaccines, but at the very high level, this is a man and Fauci that have done experimentation on little kids in Africa. They've killed countless number and injured countless number of the most vulnerable of our society. African children, in Africa, our own children that are fostered without parents. This is the evil nature of the pharmaceutical industry. Klaus Schwab, the Club of Rome, the Freemasons, these occult, the state, deep state, if you will, they go back millennia. And, remember, don't forget the Deagle report, right? I mean, you both remember the Deagle report. Do you?
No.
Well, Google it. The Deagle report comes out of the DOD and the government. This is true. You can go back and do your Deagle, as in DEAGLE, I believe. And what the Deagle report is charged with doing over the last several decades is they're part of many three-letter agencies, and they were charged with, tell me what the population projection is for every almost 200 countries in the world, right? So of course they did United States, Canada, they did all the countries, and they did a very good job. They were spot on. Well, along about 2016, the Deagle report was published, and their projection was that by 2025, the global population was going to be massively decreased. In fact, they predicted that these are governmental, these are the highest authorities, that are the most knowledgeable about, okay, what's the population going to be? United States of America was going to have a population by the end of 2025 of 90 million. Our population is 340 million. This was the Deagle report. So this is now, where did that data come from? I have no idea. What did they know that the American people don't know? I have no idea. But that was their prediction. And by the way, it was the same in many of the Western countries, in Europe. And interestingly, some countries were less affected than others. But you should look at that. And then, so where did that come from? What did they know? Going from 340 million to 90 million by this year, by the end of this year, I hope they're wrong. But there's other things. Evildoers broadcast their evil deeds to the whole world and then laugh at us. This is what they do. And this is how Satan works. But let's also look at you've heard of the Georgia Guidestones.
Oh yes, they blew it up.
Yeah. So this is another moniker of their evil deeds. This was, I think it was constructed back in the 80s. This is the evildoers controlled by Satan of the world, telling the world, this is what's coming. This is what we're going to do. I mean, look at Albert Pike's predictions, the deep stater, in going way back to the occult, the Freemasons, these elite private groups that Kennedy referred to in his one of his famous speeches. I believe it was his American University speech in 1963 in June, months before he was assassinated by the deep state. When the coup, that was a bloody coup, as you know. That wasn't an assassination by Lee Harvey Oswald. That was a coup. That was a bloody coup, a wet coup. Of course, we've been in the midst of a soft coup for a long time here in the United States of America, with portions of our government. But this is what these evil people, their goal is to reduce population. They broadcast in movies, in cartoons, in The Simpsons. They broadcast the horrible stuff that we're going to do. And this is one of the things that bothers me about it just recently, is some of these evildoers are coming out and saying, like Tony Fauci, when he's interviewed this past week, there would be another pandemic and it's going to be worse. Oh, okay. Interesting. I think Gates has come out and said that as well. So who knows what they have up their sleeve.
The CEO of Pfizer just said COVID was a dress rehearsal for what's coming next. And he was very
really say that?
about that. Yeah. So I want to get to the Henry Ford study in a second, but I have one more thing before we get there. When the women were complaining about the menstrual cycles, like you said, there was a website with a big database of it. Lots of women were. Mm-hmm. That's when the media had to talk about it, and that's when they really started to, attack it. But at the same time, they also said it's just in their heads. They said it was a mental issue, that their cycle may be off. That's what's causing it. And you also mentioned vaccine injury. Michaela Pollack, she was told her being paralyzed was a mental issue, and it will go away if she fixes her head. This seems to be a common attack vector against people when they bring concerns forward and they're worried about something, or there's something that they've noticed that's wrong. It's just in your head. Want to touch on that And then I want to talk about Nicholas Holstrom. He was on our show a little while ago from the McCullough Foundation. Sorry. Yeah, he mentioned one of your studies or work that you were doing that's showing that there's actual mental issues with people that got the vaccine. So there's an issue going on there that he was talking about. So mental health is being affected. Can you touch those two things, using mental health as an attack vector on sane people who are actually seeing a problem, but it's a way to shut them down? And then some of your research.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get into the next part.
It's very common. I mean, this is what you do. You denigrate the studies and you threaten anybody that would potentially be doing a study. So, and then what they'll point, so it's the same thing that they've done to Mr. Dan Hartman, that they've done to Mr. Ramirez, same thing they've done to all the other vaccine injured families, is they deny it, they mock them, and then they gaslight them. So this is exactly what happened. You know, and it's the same thing that the pediatricians, by the way, who were trained by the American Academy of Pediatrics, when they bring a child in that's obviously vaccine injured, Dr. Smith, this happened within 2 hours of the MMR vaccine. And then the pediatricians are actually guided and counseled by the American Academy of Pediatrics or OBGYNs by the ACOG on how to gaslight patients. So this is the way we physicians work, unfortunately, the majority of us. And it's very ugly. It's you know, I think that it's an abomination, but I think the truth is coming out.
Okay, and now let's jump into the Henry Ford study that you mentioned a couple of times. We have about 5 minutes, and we're going to cut over to the private area.
Yeah, basically, the Henry Ford study basically is a study very much like Paul Thomas's study, where they and by the way, it's very much like the study that was published from Florida earlier this year. This study took, I'm thinking, you know, almost, I want to say, let's see, the lead authors was Louis Lamoretto, a PhD, but the spokesperson is the senior author, who's the last author, and his name is Marcus Zervos. But they took a vaccine cohort, I want to say from 2000, in the early 2000s to 2016, and they very, very meticulously they followed the diseases in the unvaccinated versus the vaccinated. And so it was between 2000 and 2016, massive number, 18,468 children born during that time. And 1,957 were unvaccinated. So they went through incredible, meticulous detail, looking at these children for 16 years. They aggregated all the data, they wrote the paper, and the results were stunning. I mean, absolutely stunning. Just going through some of their results, the risk of a neurodevelopmental disorder in the vaccinated group compared to the unvaccinated group had what we call a hazard ratio, or a risk or an odds ratio, 5.53 times the number of vaccine injury, the number of the neurodevelopmental diseases in the unvaccinated. Let that sink in. If you got vaccinated in this cohort, your risk of developing a serious neurodevelopmental disorder was almost 6-fold greater than the unvaccinated. And it went on from there. Eczema was increased by 30%. Atopic diseases, which is allergic diseases, is increased by over 3-fold. Autoimmune diseases, almost 5-fold increase. risk of asthma, almost 4.25-fold increase. And then their overall developmental outcome, regardless of what it was, and that was predefined before the study, was 2.5-fold increase of chronic diseases by age, in these children in the cohort that were vaccinated compared to the non-vaccinated. It's a powerful, powerful study. And unfortunately, the authors, it was extraordinarily well done. By the way, there's a movie on it, and it just received an award at one of these movie outlets in Southern California, a film festival. The name of the movie is Inconvenient Study. So this is the way the pharmaceutical industry works, and this really, I feel really bad for him. Because he's got to get right with the Lord before he meets his maker. But Marcus Zervos, MD, the senior author, has the audacity to say, you can read his quotes all over. I mean, this was in Congress, right? He basically said, hey, I'm not a good person, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to destroy my career. So in other words, what he's doing is put all the children in Canada and the United States of America and the world that are getting vaccine injured. He wants to hide this data so he can keep his job and keep his honor and, his perceived, how people are going to, I was fired for blowing the whistle, but apparently he didn't have the ethical and moral. But can you imagine trying to sleep at night knowing this data and knowing that you suppressed it because it was inconvenient and you didn't want to, lose your job?
Yeah, I came across all of that stuff this morning, and I saw that quote. He was more worried about his job. Sorry, love. He was more worried about his job than getting us out because he knew it would be the end of his career, was kind of the quote. And I was just shaking my head. I'm like, well, that's all the more reason to do it. And I also noticed that Del Bigtree announced that award-winning movie, so An Inconvenient Study. So everybody should go check that out. Absolutely. Can you hang on for a few more minutes, because we'll go jump into our backstage with our locals for a little bit. There may be a couple more things we can ask of you, because we have some vax injured in that group. You can hold on there, Dr. Thorpe, for a couple more minutes.
Absolutely. I'm here for as long as you want. I'm here at your pleasure.
Great. So we'll be right back with you. So don't hang up when you see our goodbye, but we'll be right back with you, okay? All right, so there you go, public. Rewatch this one too, because there's a lot of information in here. Go check out that Henry Ford study. I saw that come across my feed this morning. And look, if one of the lead studies guys says, look, this is going to ruin my career because this is not supposed to be what they said. In fact, it was kind of like they were trying to prove it was safe. They were trying to prove that there was no damage. So if you go through some of that, it's kind of like for the the convoy, the federal court Mosley decision. He went into that thinking that there was an occupation and the government did the right thing. And then his mind changed as he saw the real information. Kind of same thing here. This study was meant to prove there was no problem. And it showed the complete opposite. And then the guy said, oh, well, this is going to screw my career if this comes out. So he tried to not bring it out. So I'm glad that didn't happen. It came out. The Inconvenient Study is now out there. It is an award-winning movie. Yeah,
I've shared the link in the chats where you can go to the website directly where it looks like you can download it and watch it.
Yep, and I'm glad that Dr. Thorpe highlighted how there was zero proof that this wouldn't harm a menstruation cycle, but yet the media brought it out. That's just one more example. There's a large pile of examples of how you were all lied to. So hopefully some of you are waking up and you can share this with others who are not quite there yet, but they're getting there.
Yep.
All right, public, thank you very much for hanging out with us. My toes are cold, so I'm starting to think about how to deal with the winter on our floor, but everything else is good.
A rug. I've been thinking about it too. Both thinking a carpet or a rug. But everybody, have a fantastic day.
Maybe some diesel heat, underfloor heat.
And we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Love you all very much, and God bless. Welcome back, Dr. Thorpe. So here we are with our locals group. These are the ones that support the show and help us be the truth tellers that we are, and the cold toes and all.
Yeah.
Okay, so once again, I this is exactly what I was hoping you would come and talk to us about. You bring forward in a calm, articulate way the evils. Now, to answer one of your questions, it may be a rhetorical one, but I do have an answer to it. They don't believe they've done anything wrong. And that's how they sleep at night. They actually don't have God. They're not fearful of God in any way, shape, or form. God's not in their lives. They don't have ethics or morals, obviously, and that's how they sleep at night. So they're broken. Their morals and their ethics are broken, and that's unfortunate. Do you think there's any path for people like that to wake up and flip and get back to telling truth, or are they just lost souls at this stage?
No, I believe that every person in the world has hope. And, the only way I've gotten through this is by my faith. And I'm a Christian and I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. And no matter what the circumstances are, truth will always win over time. So yeah, I think that's been very important. The truth will win over time, and I don't know if that answers your the question that was sent in.
Well, it provides me with a lot more hope that one day, they'll come out and we'll get more and more whistleblowers, and maybe they'll have a moment where they realize God will judge them one day, and that's enough to get them to go, you know what, I screwed up. I was worried about my career, my mortgage, my family, kind of like this guy did. He's like, yeah, well, I'll be honest, I was more worried about my career than anything else. That's a good admission at this stage, because that's also a confirmation that what he was providing was going to be harmful against the narrative in his career. So I actually don't mind that admission, but it is kind of sad because we know for everyone that spoke up like that, there's probably 10,000 who hasn't yet.
It's really this is as I said at the opening of the show, this is an end time struggle of good versus evil, God versus Satan, and it's being played out. And this was prophesied. This is one of the great delusions of the end time. This was the greatest medical disaster in the history of medicine. So it's, what it says, the entire Bible was written by Jews, right? And so I owe an incredible depth of gratitude to my Jewish brothers and sisters, because my Messiah was born out of the Jews. God, I believe, put his son, Jesus Christ, in this messy world to show us who God is. He sent his son and he died for my sins. So I look forward to the truth, and I believe, the entire Bible, it was written by Jews. Arguably, maybe one book in the New Testament was written, I think, Luke, some allege that he was a Greek and he wasn't a Jew, but his mother was a Jew. So, it's, and what did Paul say in Galatians? He said, God will not be mocked. You will reap what you sow. So I think that it's really important that before, this MD, senior author, last name Zervo, Marcus Zervo, MD, and the rest of the authors for that matter, I hope that they come on your show or go on somebody's show and publicly admit what they did, repent, and apologize for what they've done. And if they do that, they have hope. If they don't do that before their last breath, there's no hope. Remember what the Bible says. We're sitting here talking, we're all three drinking a cup of coffee. We got a desk, that I can pound my fist on. Remember what Paul says. This world that we live in is not real. It's the spirit world is more real than the world that we live in now. And that's what, most people don't understand. Most people that are not God-fearing, don't believe that. It's here and now, and this is it. And the good book says, life is a vapor. It's like a blade of grass. It's here today, gone tomorrow, in the perspective of eternity. So I'm actually interestingly, I'm in the process of writing another book, and it's the book is a daily devotional for 365 days, a year that help us focus on God and the good word and hope. And it's written by freedom fighters like yourself, 40 or 50 that will contribute to the 365 days, and just scripture, from the Old Testament, from the New Testament, that got these people through this horrible time, because I want to hear from them. I want to hear what sustained them through this horrible time. You take somebody like Peter McCullough, or like Mary Taliban, or you guys. You guys have just, you have been on the tip of the spear. And so I want to put together, a devotional, a whole year, 365 days, one for each day, of what sustained the medical freedom fighters through this arguably, I don't think it's arguable. This is the greatest disaster in the history of medicine.
Well, for us, I can tell you, every single day that we spend time with Jacob, we're reminded that the system wanted him gone. They tried to counsel us to his death because he has Down syndrome. And that's exactly what reminds me every single day, is if we listen to the government and the medical professionals at that time, he wouldn't be here. And he is fantastic in every single way, shape, or form. So daily, we're reminded that you got to question what they say to you. Don't take it exactly as a type of gospel. And it was when we turned to our church at that time that it really woke us up, because we were kind of in that trance. You got to do what's best for society. You can't live forever. He's going to have a hard life. This is the kind of stuff they were selling to us and telling to us. And we were kind of in that trance until we went and talked to our church, and they said, no, I'll pray for your soul, because you're about to murder someone if you do that. And you're absolutely right. And we were blessed, and we continue every day looking at him and loving him and being reminded that we have to question things.
Such a beautiful testimony. God bless you. Thank you for sharing that. I've never, ever, I've been doing this for 46 years. Never, ever have I met a mother who regretted not terminating their baby and having a beautiful baby, because Down babies and children are God's perfect creation. And it's so awful that the three organizations that oversee obstetrical care and maternal fetal medicine care in your country, Canada, and my country, is the American College of OBGYN. And what have we done globally? We've been on a hunt and destroy mission to kill every baby in the womb with Down syndrome. That's where all the research, that's what the research has been for 30 years, 40 years, refining tests, blood tests, so that we can select out babies that might have Down syndrome or another chromosomal abnormality or another defect, so that we can delete that life in the womb. This is what my profession stands for, and I was put on the spot, and I was not summoned, but I was asked by the Bush administration in the year 2003 to please come and testify in the United States Congress and testify to what you're doing. You know, you're one of the leaders in fetal therapy in the womb, which I was. I am. I did a vast number of in utero closed fetal procedures, meaning I didn't open the uterus up, but I treated fetuses through ultrasound guided catheters and needles and devices to help them survive in the womb. You know, so the name of the symposium was really treating the fetus as a patient, which I did. So I testified to that, and the whole goal of that testimony, that Bush administration, was to overthrow not Roe versus Wade, overthrow partial birth abortion, which is an awful, gruesome procedure. It's just awful if you've ever seen one or you've read about one. It's awful. It's from the pit of hell. And so, in fact, we did overthrow partial birth abortion, only to be resurrected by Barry Soetoro, or AKA Barack Hussein Obama.
Wow. Okay, well, Dr. Thorpe, we have to run to get to our children. It's that time in the morning for us to go wake them up and get them started on their day. Mm-hmm. But thank you very much for the sobering reminder of the fight that we have to continue.
Yep.
And I'm glad the truth is starting to be set free, even reluctantly, even when careers may be attacked. The truth is coming out. So it may be inconvenient to many, but it's about time. It really is about time, and we're going to keep ensuring that we do our little part here in Canada and Alberta to spread that information out there. And thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Generous. Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Oof, boy, we're lucky. We're lucky that we are at a time where we can still do this. Okay, that's why we got to fight against the Canadian government with their bills to shut this kind of thing down. Mm-hmm. And I think the more of this inconvenient truth coming out, not using Buddy's term, but the inconvenient information is coming out, the better chance that we have of waking up enough people to get this to stop. So thank you to Dr. Thorpe for being here again with us today.
Yep. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yep. And please share this out there. And if you're on locals, this portion here is for you guys. But encourage somebody to join, and they can watch it if they're so inclined. That'll help us a lot. All right. Have yourself a wonderful day, everybody.
Yeah. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Have yourself a great day. Love you all. And God bless.